In the heart they gather strong, pushing back the lefty strong. With the red banner held high, marching forward through the night. Promises of old will keep as the donkeys start to weep. Stars and stripes forever sway, in the land of the brave we stay. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down.
With a flagpole planted firm,
golden dreams that won't decay,
marching proudly through the day.
In the eagle's shadow by, we find our strength and take our pride. Let the voices echo loud, tearing through the waiting crowd. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down. Across the plains and mountains tall, hear the victory call. With courage and with might we strive, in the light of freedom's guide. We got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down. Times are changing, feel the buzzing, staying true when they're fussing. Keep the flag a-flying through stormy nights. With the star-spangled banner, I stand tall with manners. Cross my heart with hope in sight. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie, with liberty. Stick to values in the trends. Families gather, let's defend. Hold the line, keep the bond alive. Truth in our vision, in God we make decisions. For our dream, true, thrive and strive. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie, with liberty. We'll keep fighting for what's right, standing strong in the night. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and bravery, with liberty.
I thought the world would turn slower, not as fast as it does. Conservative hearts were steady, sure and just because. A simpler time of values, when right was what it was. It seems like those days vanished with just a fleeting pause.
Right-wing dreams of yesterday, steady in the fray, keeping timeless traditions, leading all the way.
grass is green, the air so clean. We gather round the table every night, joyful days, oh, was I yet, with values passed, with generations past, living life with love that surely lasts. As the city lights look bright, we hold to our roots tight, in our hearts the same old fires, guided by the good old days. Sharing moments with friends always divine. Working hard for what we seek, respecting each word we speak, holding dear to our family ties underneath these nostalgic skies. As the city lights so bright got you tight, in our hearts the same old fire. Oh, yeah. We sway with every change of time, but in our hearts hold vows and sword that may be in our hearts, getting like a thought ain't hot. In this fast-paced world we can fight. Traditions keep our hearts going wild. But you'll find in our hearts simple ways, we guided by the good old days.
Hello, everyone, and welcome on this episode of Culturama, where we are trying to reclaim the zeitgeist of traditional Americana back into the United States. Thank you, everyone that has joined the chat. I already see a very active chat room with all the usuals and some newer names. Thank you all, and this is going to be a very exciting episode because we have special guest Vish Burra joining us here today, a MAGA magnate. We're going to be talking about right-wing media and as well as legacy media as well a little bit, and I think you guys are really going to appreciate today's episode. So it is a special guest episode today. Every Thursday we like to have a special guest that we interview, and so I'm very excited about that. But in other news, a lot has been going on. I feel like I say this with every episode, but especially last episode. And, you know, there are some serious themes here, so bear with me. But we did have the murder of Jamie White associated with InfoWars. And so today I will be discussing that at length because there has been new developments, not just with Jamie White specifically, but also other members of the InfoWars team. And so this brings on a lot of a really questionable future for independent media and right-wing media, and what that means for the future of, you know, journalists that are involved in that space. And so last stream, I talked about how this could be a new reign of what I said was leftist terror or political violence. And, you know, I still stand by that. Of course, we had no evidence to suggest that as far as Jamie White is concerned, but it is still very concerning seeing how we are seeing more attacks happening, for instance, on in Tesla dealerships, for example, people attacking Tesla cars, X going down momentarily and X taking some cyber attacks. There is a lot that we should be worried about, you guys. And I don't mean to, you know, concern you all too much, but I'm just saying that we as conservatives must remain vigilant, especially as the Trump administration is going forward with the policies that he has proposed and promised. Promises made, promises indeed kept. We are seeing that with the development of the Russo-Ukrainian war. Last I've heard, Putin has also agreed to the ceasefire given that certain conditions are met. So I'm not going to be following that story at length today. However, it is an important development, yet another promise that Trump said as a peacemaker he wanted to contribute. Also, a big one I want to mention, you guys. Taxes. So I'm going to read about a little article here about the tax situation. If you haven't heard, Donald Trump wants to eliminate taxes for the middle class, essentially, for people that make less than $150,000 a year. As far as I'm going to guess, I'm going to think a lot of you make less than that are watching me today, myself included. And so that's big news. But is this something that we should really celebrate? I'm going to read an article about that before we jump into the other stuff here today. But our country is also harboring spies, everybody. Mohammed Khalil, I believe his name is. We're going to be discussing that case and more as we move forward. But I got to move fast because we only have 2 hours today, because we have the Liberty Tonight show following after mine as part of the For Liberty Network. So that is a show that you guys are interested in. It's a comedy show. That goes right after mine. And I always drop the link in the chat after I am done with Culturama. So we have 2 hours to commence through. So with all that being said, I want to thank, like I said, everyone that has joined the chat. I'm going to say my hellos to all of you. Steelbringer, as usual, you are always the first one in the chat, and I want to thank you for being such a dedicated viewer. Thank you for joining Culturama today. We also have Mr. Pig in the chat, Scad as well, second. Thank you so much, Scad. We have Grizz Cheese in the chat, LDubs78. Wonderful. Thank you guys for joining. JJ, hello JJ. It's so good to see you. Thank you. Who else do we have here? Okay, I think that's all the usuals. And if you are a common time lurker, please feel free to chat. I love to interact with new chatters. Also, if you want me to answer a specific question or cover a specific topic with the time that I have, please donate a Rumble Rant. Rumble Rants are the best way to reach me live on this show. And so, I'll be able to see your chats live, read it out loud. For the most part, I'll read any chat that you send in, given that is reasonable, okay? We also have, and like I always have here on the stream, I'm obligated to mention it. We have the Leo the Beast meter. So if we reach $70 in donations today, I will unleash my beast. That is the dog. I'm still working on the Leo cam, everyone. My dysgenic circus creature of a dog, Leo. I'm going to be bringing up the Leo cam in the next few days, possibly next week. Okay. So we have, like I said, a lot to cover, and what I wanted to cover first was the taxes situation. I know, I see in the chat, Happy Pi Day Eve, wrote Grizz Cheese. Thank you so much, Grizz Cheese. That is very... I was always very bad at math, but I do love Pi Day. I actually can recite a good amount of digits from pi following after 3.14. So if we get maybe $3.14 in donations, I will recite as much as I remember. And thank you so much for already a gifted sub by Steelbringer. Thank you so much, Steelbringer. I can always count on you, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to dive right into the next story here, you guys, because like I said, it's a jam-packed episode. And like I always say, thank you for tuning in. Taxes, you guys. I know taxes is usually a very boring topic. Believe me, I get it. I don't like to talk about taxes myself. However, I think you guys are going to appreciate this one. For those that didn't hear, I'm going to read this Newsweek article for you all. President Donald Trump's tax plan could give Americans an extra $24,000 per year. The U.S. By the way, JJ, who donated? Hold on a second. JJ, I do see your donation. I will get to it after this article. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said Trump is looking to eliminate an income tax for Americans earning less than $150,000 a year. At the higher end of the bracket, some would save up to $24,000. Does that sound like something you guys are into? I know I am. Experts, however, as usual, the experts always are going to come in, are concerned with the massive endeavor and its potential long-term ramifications of the U.S. economy. Why it matters. During his campaign, Trump suggested that he would eliminate the federal income tax by implementing an all-tariff policy, okay? And this is how I feel about this. I understand that this will be a very popular policy for most Americans. I mean, who doesn't want more money in their pocket? My initial response, and I'm not going to pretend like I know a whole lot about this topic. My initial response is, though, what will the long-term effects of this be? Naturally, I think you should be concerned about the long-term effects, whether or not the economy would catch up to such an addition in our wallets. However, think about the initial effect of this. $24,000 extra is absolutely life-changing money for a lot of people, particularly the middle class in the United States. That's more groceries, that's internet bill, that's a good chunk of rent, okay, monthly for a lot of people. I mean, this is going to go a long way in sealing the support of the American people that Donald Trump, I think, has already sealed to much of a degree. But as far as I'm aware, the tariff position was not popular among Americans. And so something like this could win the favor back for Trump. Okay, let's follow through. Let's just go to the end of this article. Thompson said Americans might feel financial relief in the short term for having more take-home pay under Trump's tax cut, but there could be a larger issue in the long run. Quote, long term, this could lead to growing federal deficits as tax revenue declines. But government spending continues, Thompson said. Future generations would inherit increased debt burdens. Advocates might argue that the growth in consumption can set up some losses. But we're talking about trillions in lost revenue, a massive gap to fill. So yes, you might feel more of your paycheck now, but you'll pay for it later through higher national debt and greater economic uncertainty. So as far as I'm aware, with all of these programs that are being cut, we do have to understand that the majority of the substantial finances that we receive from these taxes are the top few percent of people that make well over that $100,000 or $150,000 per year that finance a lot of these projects. Okay. So that is important to note. As this article does rightfully point out, there are, of course, long-term effects to be aware of. However, it doesn't seem all that necessary given all the developments that we are incurring under the Trump administration with the cutting of all these developments and the extensions of these agencies. So it remains to be seen how effective it is. But you know what? I'm not too upset about this one, you guys. I actually feel pretty good about this position myself. And hopefully, given the right circumstances, it will follow through. But like I said, it remains to be seen. We already have donations at the wazoo, everyone. So let's go. I'm going to read them off. First one we have is from JJ, $5. Thank you so much, JJ. You wrote, shout out to Jimmy McMillan. The rent is too damn high, guy. Shout out to Jimmy indeed. Thank you so much, JJ. I appreciate it. $5 from Entropy Nomad. Thank you so much, Entropy. You wrote, those making 60K are not getting back 24K. There is no free lunch, only a growing debt with no cap on spending. Exactly, Entropy Nomad. That's essentially what this article has stated. So you would be essentially against the tax cuts, I assume. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this. I just pulled up the article right before the show here just to give us some foundational understanding here. Personally, I wouldn't be too upset about it initially, but I don't think a lot of Americans would be upset about it initially. But we do have to be aware of the long-term circumstances of this, and that is something to keep in mind. Now, like I said, I do think this is one of Trump's many tactics to obtain the favorability of the American people. I think this guy is obsessed with not re-election, like a lot of politicians are, but with maintaining his favor with the general public. This could be one of those tactics. I'm not necessarily too mad about this tactic in particular. I'm not going to lie, especially since the potential hit we may face with the tariffs. But it remains to be seen what exactly happens with it. Also, $2 from Grizz Cheese. Thank you so much, Grizz Cheese. You wrote, that's a lot of Unleash the Beast donations. Indeed, Grizz Cheese. That is indeed a lot of Unleash the Beast donations, but it is necessary. I know the original cap was at $50 to release him from his jail cell. However, given how popular the Unleash the Beast segment is, I decided to increase it a little bit. It's inflation. I'm sorry, Grizz Cheese. And because of inflation, the cap had to be raised to $70. But we're almost there. We're already at what? 5, 10, 12, a little over $12. You never know. We might get there before the 2 hours are spent. But like I promised, since you guys did donate more than $3.14, I guess I can recite some of what I remember from Pi. Like I said, I hate math. I've never been good at math, even though I wish I was good at it, but I did like memorizing things. And it's been a while since I recited it, but I'm just going to go for it. I believe it is 3.14.159.26535.8979.323, I think. So please let me know if that is accurate or not. That's as far as I memorized pi. I remember when I was in high school, I was obsessed with memorizing as much as I could, and that's how much I can recite or recount right now. Anyways, thank you everyone for joining. I'm excited for Pi Day. I am going to buy a pie tomorrow. Might take pictures with it. You never know. Post it on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me there. There's also reels we have of Culturama on there as well. Or follow me on TikTok under Culturama Podcast. Okay, you guys, I shall be right back. I'm going to pull up the next few stories. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but H3 is under some hot water. But not from his own doing. It turns out leftists, like we talked about in the last stream, leftists are going crazy, okay? And this is a bit serious, but because a family is being affected here. However, you know, I do want to cover it. H3, Ethan Klein, leftist streamer, part of the H3 podcast, the host of it, is being targeted. Leftists are not just attacking us, you guys. They're not just attacking InfoWars. They're attacking their own kind, okay? And I do think that it is necessary to talk about this next story because these people will go out of their way to affect the lives, the intimate lives of their own kind. And it shows just how dangerous they are. So I'll be talking about that after this commercial break. If you so please can, please like and share the stream. It goes a long way in, you know, providing support and growing audience reach. I see that we are hitting lower numbers on Rumble, so I want to spike that up. So please like the stream, share it. If you are watching on X, please share the stream on there, retweet it, drop the link to the stream in your group chats, everyone. Let's go. Let's raise those numbers up. We're only at rookie numbers. So I'm going to be right back, everyone, and I will be bringing up the next story here. So just stay tuned.
Well, here comes Danny Yellow like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah. Who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Hey, Liberty lovers, stop scrolling, because if you're tired of the same old news, then I've got just the wake-up call for you. I want to thank you for tuning in to Culturama, and I know that you're enjoying every minute of it. Join us at rumble.com/AP4Liberty. The Wake Up America show is Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a great way to start your day. Coffee's optional, but waking up is mandatory. Remember, at Wake Up America, we'll keep you sharp, we'll keep you laughing, most of all, we'll keep you free. I'll see you in the morning.
Okay, everyone, welcome back to Culturama, where on this show we are actively reclaiming the zeitgeist. Thank you, everyone, for showing up so far on the stream. Please like and share the stream. I'm going to jump into this next story. Ethan Klein, H3H3, host of the H3H3 podcast. He used to be a big-time YouTuber. He is under some stress right now because the left wing doesn't like their own, okay? The purity testing of the left wing is crazy, and that's what I'm going to be covering here this next moment. So give me 1 second, and I'll be pulling up that story here for you guys.
Seen it all. I've been swatted several times.
So this is H3H3, everyone.
Helicopters, the street shut down, police with guns drawn up.
So those that don't know what happened. So basically what happened with this streamer, he's a leftist. He used to stream with Hassan Piker, nephew of Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, pretty leftist himself. He's a Twitch streamer himself, Hassan Piker is. And so they did a collab. And when the Israeli-Palestinian conflict had erupted, let's just say that Ethan, someone that, you know, his wife is Jewish, he's Jewish, he has family in Israel. He is not Zionist, he is not pro-Israel, but all he said on his show and how he reiterated numerous times is we probably shouldn't make glass out of Israel. We probably shouldn't carpet bomb Israel and kill everyone in sight like Hassan Piker and his followers were insisting that we do. And so that's all it took for the leftists that consume this information, that are fans of Hassan Piker, to come over and harass this individual. So like he said, they're swatting him. They've called law enforcement to get his dog away from him because they said he was abusing his dog when he wasn't. Next thing they did is that they're calling CPS on his children, okay? For really no reason at all. What they said it was that their one of his children had contracted some sickness, and it's not a serious sickness. I think it's called, I forgot what it's called. In the next video, we'll find out, but they got this sickness from the dog. I think they have a German Shepherd, I'm not sure. And so the audience found out about it, and they had a campaign basically set against him to call CPS. It turns out that this sickness, that the child never had the sickness. Ethan even clarified this later on his podcast publicly, saying this child was not sick. But this was enough grounds to get these people to call CPS and say that he was abusing his child. Okay, so that's where we're at. And we're obviously not going to watch this entire video. It's 36 minutes, but we're just going to watch the first few minutes of it.
We've also been visited by the FBI 3 times.
FBI, you guys.
Warn us of a credible threat against our lives. One time, most recently, he came at 7 a.m. and said, "Do not open any packages until you hear from me, as we have credible bomb threats against you."
Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Credible bomb threats. This guy isn't inflammatory, by the way. For those that aren't aware, he's not like some Nick Fuentes or he's making these inflammatory statements. This is like your middle of the road, sort of centrist to left leaning individual. He's actually kind of milquetoast. I've never cared to watch the podcast. I don't get that much from it. You know, it's not for me. But, oh, hold on a second. Am I not streaming? Hold on a second. Oh, there we go. So sorry about that, you guys. Were you not being able to see me? Okay, anyways. Okay, we're back on the screen. But I don't really watch the stream all that much. I think I tried to watch like a couple episodes in the past. I wouldn't recommend it. You should watch Culturama instead. But this guy is not deserving of the attacks he's receiving.
Attention seeing how extreme Hassan and his fan base are, and his orbiters. But the lengths to which they've gone to harass us and get revenge for going after their god king Hassan has frankly gone beyond any type of point of civility and humanity, to the point where they're calling CPS, Child Protective Services, to come to our house and break up our family. On Friday morning, an agent showed up to our house saying that they had received an anonymous tip that our children were crawling around in dog shit, eating dog shit.
Excuse the language.
Contracting diseases. Not only have they called CPS on us, now they're starting to try to call in a 5150.
And this was all, just to guys give you more context, the reason why he's putting Reddit posts is because a lot of this was orchestrated on Reddit. And so there are Reddit communities dedicated to ruining the lives of these public figures and these streamers, okay? And APOC, I don't understand why CPS was called. Just keep watching APOC. The kids had apparently contracted some disease. Anyway, which they didn't. Which, by the way, if you have kids, it happens like... I don't have kids. I don't know this. But from what I hear and what from Ethan's going to say, it happens all the time. You get sick all the time. It just happens. It's not abusive. Anyways. But this is why there's Reddit posts. Because a lot of these are Redditors, everyone. Who would have imagined the Redditors are doing this, wants to ruin the lives of individuals, public figures, and also break apart their families. There's an ad. Sorry about that, you guys. I still need to get an ad block. When will it happen?
Really gone on too far, and at this point, I'm ready to take no prisoners, take the gloves off, and call out everybody who needs to be called out. The thing is, once you target my children, then a line's been crossed that cannot be walked back. Once my kids are involved, when people are targeting my children, harassing my children, there's no length that I won't go to take care of this. And I think that's something that every parent can relate to. All these people, incidentally, who are promoting this type of insanity are, in fact, childless and will likely remain that way. The CPS...
Redditors.
Asking us all kinds of questions like, who feeds the kids? Who takes care of the kids? What do you do to the kids when you get angry? How do the kids sleep? Do the kids have toys? Is that what happens when you get mad, or what happens when your kids get mad? He walked around the house. He looked in our refrigerator. He walked all around looking for dog shit, apparently. Although when he showed up immediately, he said, "Wow, this place is clean." Our 3 and 5
doesn't matter how clean, you know. Again, I don't have kids, but I can only imagine how absolutely, you know, anxiety-inducing it is to have CPS showed up, and even the threat of that occurring is ridiculous. And, you know, even with the house clean, you never know what could happen.
Boys were at school. Our 8-month-old is upstairs sleeping when he visits, and he says, "I need to go upstairs and look at your infant visibly to see him and confirm he's okay." Well, he's napping in his crib. He goes upstairs to look around the house, to snoop around. He investigates Sonny, our youngest, wakes him up from his nap, and even though he woke him up during his nap, he was greeted immediately, actually, by a smile, because Sonny is probably the happiest baby in the entire world.
Anyways, well, every parent says that about, was he swatted? Fiery Waco, thank you for joining the chat. And CPS was called on Ethan Klein by his leftist audience. By the Hassan Piker audience, more or less, actually. So it's just another extension, and we're going to be talking about the InfoWars stuff and the swatting that's happened there, actually, as far as it also other right-wing accounts on Twitter. But I want to draw attention to the fact that they are attacking their own as well. Okay, so that's why I want to highlight the story. But and by the way, I do see the donation. The JJ. Thank you so much for the $2, JJ. You wrote, "Do you prefer pi or tau?" It's 3.14 or 6.28. I much prefer pi. Not only for the symbol, it looks cooler, but it also is a tasty treat. So I would have to say pi, JJ. But thank you so much, JJ, for that wonderful and generous donation. Anyway, so this was going viral a couple days ago. I was actually going to talk about on my last stream. I didn't have time, but I wanted to show you guys this screenshot. Very daunting things. And this is Asmongold, essentially. I know it's going to be a stream reception for a little bit, a streamer covering a streamer, but I just want you to watch Denims, I don't bother myself with who this person is. I know she's a streamer. I know she's lefty. I don't know anything beyond that. But she is one of those heading this campaign to call CPS on Ethan Klein. And so I'm going to be watching her reasoning, and I just happen to find this chain here, this thread of Asmongold reacting to it, so bear with me. But this is her reasoning and why she propelled to call CPS, why she propelled other people to call CPS. And here's another leftist doing the same. So let's take a listen to their justifications.
This is so traumatic for the kids. You're trying to traumatize the children. It's like...
So basically, these people collectively got together and called CPS on Ethan and Hila's kids.
For context, this is the same person we had to deal with before.
$30K to anyone who'll make this dipshit disappear.
And now she's been on a generational run of hating against Ethan Klein during almost every single stream of hers, to the point they literally had Child Protective Services called on H3H3's family. And as you might notice, she immediately deleted the VOD after this happened, and now she's trying to dismiss the event as nothing crazy.
Doc, you literally, the vast majority of people are, like, vast, are not remembering anything that happened to them at 3.
My reaction exactly. So she's saying 3. I thought the child was 5, but regardless, if CPS takes, she thinks that if CPS takes a child away, they're not going to remember it. It doesn't even matter. These people are deranged.
Man, so it's okay to do anything to a 3-year-old because they won't remember it.
It's just sympathy.
That's not even true.
Like the IDF classic card.
The IDF, the Israeli Defense Force? What does this have to do with the IDF?
Because this individual right here, Hila, Ethan's wife, I believe was part of the IDF, okay? Whatever. Yes, she was part of the IDF. People try to paint them as a Zionist family, but countless times, I want to highlight this, you guys. Countless times, Ethan said multiple times he's not on the side of Israel on this, okay? He is on the side of the Palestinians. He just doesn't want people to carpet bomb Israel and flatten it out completely. He has family there. It's understandable why he doesn't want to push his completely violent rhetoric. And just because he doesn't agree with Hassan Piker on this 100%, maybe he agrees with him 99%, 98%, that is enough to justify these people calling CPS on them, essentially. That's why she's bringing up this great individual right here. I mean, sarcastically, that's why she's bringing up IDF.
Like, please, my life is so difficult. Please, everyone that is against us needs fucking awful experiences because we're the ones dealing with the real awful experiences.
What? I don't even know what to say. The fuck were we watching? She was in the IDF? Yeah, she was in the IDF because every single person that was born and lived
exactly
in Israel has
to be part of the IDF.
Including women.
Mila did worse to Palestinian kids in the IDF. I mean, I'm sure she's thought about doing terrible things to people when she was in the IDF.
I want you to understand that
she had to serve. I mean, there's no choice about it. It doesn't necessarily mean that she was a bloodthirsty killer.
The reason why she's saying this is so she can dehumanize this woman that she's watching, like Ethan's wife, and then make her an acceptable target for bad treatment.
Okay, and then let's listen to this video right here. This very palatable individual. Asmongold reacts to weird-looking Hassan Piker fan. Again, these are Hassan's fans, you guys.
Your fucking kids. Why don't you tell your wife too? She should be taking care of your kids too, both of y'all. Instead, you're posted up complaining about how you got CPS called and they're investigating you, homie, and you're posting on Instagram. Oh, I hope his kids get taken away from him. Oh, I hope so. They would be so much better off.
These people are mentally ill, you guys. They thrive. They get off to the idea of these families being torn apart. Okay? One of them says that this person says that they doesn't matter. They're not going to remember. She's trying to make it, she's trying to downplay an obviously evil act. This one just straight up gets off to it. She thinks it's cool.
Fuck. And you can't even...
Who does this?
Oh, I hope his kids get taken away from
Leftists.
So they've already made up their mind. They're not calling CPS to investigate. They're calling CPS to do something in order to make this person's life worse. Ethan needs to lawyer up and sue these people. I hope he does. These are people who are making false calls to real government places in order to execute an internet beef. This is disgusting behavior. And all these people like Denham's downplaying this. Oh, that's not. Oh, but you're not getting memories at this age or whatever. Like, get the fuck out of here. This is so disgusting. Why would you talk like this? Why would you act like this? It's outrageous.
Yeah, and that's the sort of people that we're dealing with. And hold on, let me change my other screen here. These are the sort of people that we're dealing with. Instead of using the resources for actual cases where it matters, okay? And I know I have my own opinions about CPS, but if it's still a service, we at least should use it to cases where we need it the most, instead they're going to utilize these resources for reasons that are frankly quite evil. Because this is what these people have devolved to, is being quite evil. And another evil aspect of all of this, and this next part is going to get a little dark, you guys, so bear with me. But it is the attacks that are happening on InfoWars. Now, I'm pulling up the stories right now as we speak, and I'm diving right into the story because we only have a few minutes left until I get my guest on here. Vish, Burra. I think you guys are going to quite enjoy that one. Okay, so let me hold on. Is this all the information I have right now? Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, you guys, so as of last stream on Tuesday, I had reported on the Jamie White murder. And for those that don't know, Jamie White was a top reporter for the InfoWars team. Now I believe it's rebranded as the Alex Jones Show. I haven't watched it recently. I used to watch InfoWars quite frequently, actually. And he was shot and killed in front of his apartment Sunday night. The same night that the Jubilee video dropped with Sam Cedar. So everyone was talking about Sam Cedar. This did not get the coverage I think it deserved immediately, but details following the case, regardless it was covered, but details following the case were quite interesting because investigators were basically saying that this was a burglary gone wrong. However, as far as last time I looked into the story, there was really no proof of that even occurring, that there was no proof of it being a burglary. They did call Jamie White's sister, I believe her name is Kelly, and she insisted that it was a burglary, but she also did not provide any evidence. And so I went to Twitter and I was asking a few questions online, like, what's going on? Why isn't this being investigated? And it's kind of weird, right? But this story, I assure you, is going to be forgotten. It's going to be a cold case. They did not find the people, by the way, shot and stabbed, just so you know. I don't know how many shots were taken to his body or how many stabbing wounds are on him. But we're never going to get any details on this. There's not going to be an autopsy done. This is basically Seth Rich all over again. And it's going to be swept under the rug and left as a cold case. Take my word for it. And I will eat my own Culturama pillow if I'm wrong. Okay? I will try to eat this pillow live on stream if I'm wrong. But that's not going to happen because you know why? Because there's something deeper going on. And this was dropped by Alex just a couple days after the murder had taken place, and he had reported on it. Let's take a listen to what he's saying here. Now, I will say this. I was not excited or happy about Alex Jones right away, straight out the gate, saying that this was a Soros-planned attack after Jamie White was killed. I think that was the wrong move, but it is Alex Jones. What do you expect? But there is some questionable activities happening, and I want to watch this video and a few others. Fiery Waco, if you want a Culturama pillow, go to the ap4libertyshop.com to get yourself that pillow right now if you're interested. Once again, that is ap4libertyshop.com. I or someone, please drop the link in the chat. I will probably while this video is playing, but sorry about that. Okay, let's continue.
Been on air 31 years coming up in April, and we've never had something of this magnitude and this seriousness. I, again, as I did in the earlier report to you, got in contact by a very respected top journalist of the highest credibility, saying that one of their top sources, very high in U.S. intel, said that from 3 sources inside the intelligence signals gathering system, NSA, CIA, that there is a international contract out on me of the highest level they've ever seen targeting a civilian. They said these same contracts are out on the Trump family, and that's the only group that had this level through the same networks. Obviously, it's the Ukrainians. Now, let's move away from what's happening to me and our reporter getting murdered Sunday night and vicious SWAT raids on Chase Geyser last night. Guns drawn, loudspeakers, lights, all of these posted the video. People trying to get him murdered, calling him, impersonating him, saying he had his wife and daughters tied up and he's going to kill him. And they get there, he's asleep, he gets up, the wife and children don't wake up, he goes up, that happens. So that's what's going on just a few hours ago. I've been on the phone with him since 3 a.m. I get this information on top of other information about 7 o'clock last night about the contract. And you need to understand this is canary in the coal mine. They are so desperate. Now, of course, Jamie White that was murdered was on the Ukrainian government targeting list. So is Elon Musk.
Is the audio low? I can fix that. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can fix that audio. Oh. Can I fix the audio? Hang on. I mean, I'll do my best, you guys.
U.S. citizen journal on record. They're very proud of that. They bragged about it. So, tortured to death. So, they're losing. They have no intention, though, of peace. This is NATO. And it was NATO I learned 8 years ago that ran all the disinformation campaigns.
So basically, he has a bounty on his head, you guys. I don't know how else to make this more simple for you. And I do believe him. I did hear from others with actual individuals named that it was confirmed that there were planned assassination plots that were going to be held against Alex Jones. Okay. So that is what we are seeing right now. But on top of that, just a couple days following after Jamie White's murder, we also have InfoWars host Chase Geyser swatted. Not only was he swatted once, he was swatted twice. Okay? Let's listen to this.
And they said that after even, I just rushed back home, talked to the cops. There were half a dozen cop cars outside my house. And they said that they have been receiving a litany of SWAT requests for my property via 311 via text. Now, these people are refusing to answer the phone or speak. They say that they can only text. And they said that as I was talking to the police in my own driveway 15 or 20 minutes after the initial call, they said that they were still getting 311 messages about my house. So there was a campaign swatting my property today, Alex.
Like 3 years ago, then again a year ago.
This audio is a bit quiet, but bear with me.
They get gas the same place. And I live right on the edge of the city, so it's Travis County. And so we've been swatted more than 10.
So there are active campaigns to swat these people, and you guys, swatting is a big deal. Swatting has killed people. You can kill a family member. It could happen where they can kill a pet. It is a serious issue. It is life altering. So it isn't just like some police officers come and knock at your door. This is a real life threatening situation. And especially with like big time political, if you're like politically affiliated, especially so. So this is very much a concerning a thing that's happening. And this, I'm not going to go so far as to say that swatting is necessarily an assassination attempt, but it very well could be. It's at least tangentially related. Individuals have died through swatting attempts. It has been known to occur, and it is a serious crime, you guys, if you're doing it without any reasonable cause. So here's another breaking. Police released new details on the tragic murder of InfoWars reporter Jamie White. Owen Schroer is covering it. This was like a day ago. Let's watch this.
36 Douglas Street. When officers arrived on the scene, they located one victim. He was later identified as Jamie White, lying on the ground in the parking lot with apparent trauma to his body. White was transported to a local hospital where he was pronounced deceased at 12:19 a.m. on March 10th, 2025. Homicide detectives and crime scene specialists responded to process the crime scene and interview witnesses. The initial investigation shows that White was shot and killed in the parking lot of the apartment complex in which he lived. The suspects then fled the scene. During the crime scene investigation, evidence White interrupted an individual or group of individuals as they broke into his vehicle. That evidence includes the fact that one of White's windows was broken.
By the way, this comment, I asked the same question on my stream. How can he catch up? So they're saying that these burglars were breaking into his car. He ran out, he confronted them, and that's how he got killed. He confronted them and he was killed because they were trying to break into his car. By the way, in none of the reports or articles that I've seen did they say there was a broken window, there were items stolen, that the car was in a disheveled state, anything. Like there was nothing listed. Nothing. So you would think if it was an actual burglary attempt, something would be listed as proof, as evidence or something that it was burglary. What I did find were multiple articles saying that his sister, who doesn't even live in Austin, by the way, his sister said it was a burglary. Let me ask you guys, how would his sister know it was a burglary? Well, she said, I read in one article, I believe the Independent had the most information about this because they directly reached out to her. And she said that he had suffered a burglary before in his car when he had visited a family in Christmas. So what? This doesn't mean that this was a burglary this time. She's just going off of conjecture, and somehow investigators took this as a reason to believe that it was a burglary, so that's the statement they put out for other reporters to take on. Anyway, I have only a few minutes left, so I'm gonna just go past this. Maybe I'll come back to it after the interview, but I did also want to point this out. Oh, yes, and also this article. Sandy Hook families are no longer seeing any benefit in Alex Jones' InfoWars fight. They're proposing a new plan. This was a couple days after the murder. Sandy Hook families will stop trying to recover a token. By the way, remember the Sandy Hook case, how ridiculous that was? That pissed me off. But anyway, Sandy Hook families, how they basically bankrupted Alex Jones to oblivion. We'll stop trying to recover a token of the $1.4 billion Alex Jones owns them by following a marathon course in federal bankruptcy court, and instead, we'll go after his InfoWars Conspiracy News broadcast, which is already rebranded, business in state courts in Texas and Connecticut. So their goal here now, they're shifting their sights on InfoWars itself, not just Alex Jones. Wow, how big of them. Interesting how this is coming out right now after this murder had taken place. But not related to the InfoWars team specifically, although we have all this happening to InfoWars right now, we have even more swattings happening. This wonderful account tipped me off to this. I didn't see it, but Gunther Eagleman, big Twitter account here, 1.3 million, was also swatted. Okay? This last night was also swatted. He's conservative. Nick Sortor, everyone. He followed. Yeah, okay. I thought he followed me. Maybe he doesn't follow me. My mistake. He should follow me. Nick Sortor were also swatted. Both my dad and my sister were swatted tonight. A dozen cops attempted to kick my dad's door in gunpoint. Okay? This is not funny, you guys. This is a big deal. They're coming after us. Okay? They're truly coming after us, and this is something to keep in mind. I'm going to cover this more after the interview, but we have Vish Burra contacting us here on Culturama. We're going to be having a interview here in a minute, so I'm going to go to commercial break. I'm going to pull them up here in the Zoom room. So guys, everyone stay tuned. I will be right back. I'm going to have to play the same interview, okay? Not interview, the same commercial, so bear with me. But because it's a longer commercial, so bear with me. I'll be bringing in Vish. Stay tuned, everyone. I'm going to be asking him some hard-hitting questions.
Well, here comes Sandy yelling like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah, who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Hey, Liberty lovers, stop scrolling, because if you're tired of the same old news, then I've got just the wake-up call for you. I want to thank you for tuning in to Culturama, and I know that you're enjoying every minute of it. Join us at rumble.com/AP4Liberty. The Wake Up America show is Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a great way to start your day. Coffee's optional, but waking up is mandatory. Remember, at Wake Up America, we'll keep you sharp, we'll keep you laughing, most of all, we'll keep you free. I'll see you in the morning.
Well, here comes Annie like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah, who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Radioactive Exclusion Zone, where I have today with me the legendary Vish. Burra, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Daniela. Thank you. And I caught some of your stream before I jumped on here through Austin Peterson's page. I just want to say I love the production quality of what you guys got going on. Totally dig it. It's very original and unique, and I want to say a good job. And I'm really glad I got an invitation to Culturama.
Well, of course, thank you. I mean, you're the type of person that we'd love to interview on this show. So I really appreciate you taking the time. The audience is here excited to talk to you. So I'm really excited to jump in. But for those that aren't aware, first of all, you guys are living under a rock. You should probably know who this guy is. But just for those that are unaware, let us know. Kind of give us a brief story about like your political evolution, what it is that you do now, and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a son of Indian immigrants, born in Brooklyn, raised in Staten Island. And, I kind of came up, in a multi-ethnic, multi-racial, working class neighborhood in Staten Island. And one of the things, it was really hard as a young man growing up, especially in that area, especially amongst my friends, to really come up in the world, make money and these kinds of things, to really kind of go after the American dream. And a lot of us got disillusioned and we bought into a form of nihilism, a lot of us, that, kind of led me to doing bad things. I used to sell a lot of weed and stuff, and I got in trouble for that, and it really came down to, well, look, the government's not looking out for us, and so we don't care about the government. We don't care about society. I'm going to go make as much money doing whatever I want. And you know what? If it's money that's tax-free essentially from the street, even better, right? And so that kind of mentality drove some of those bad actions, and eventually I would get raided and all that. And so that was a real awakening moment for me. And as I tried to kind of rebuild myself from that moment, I got into software and understanding the software consulting business, the IT consulting business. That's where I got to see the H-1B visa behind the scenes and how it actually worked. And that was definitely one of those moments that radicalized me, right? Just kind of seeing how all that works. And I had a bunch of layering, red pilling experiences. And when Donald Trump came on the scene, that's when it all clicked. And I understood what I was. And I was whatever Donald Trump was pushing. And that's what I understood to be MAGA and America First. And that's when I really started delving in. And I kind of just supported Donald Trump as an observer. But I thought after he would win in 2016 that we would come together as a country to kind of like talk about our real problems and figure out our real problems. When a reality TV star is winning your presidential election, there's certainly something to talk about how that happened. But in 2016, we saw the exact opposite happen, and everyone started tearing each other apart. We really started to go into kind of the closest thing to a hot war with the media and the government and the deep state and all these different, facets of our society. And that's when I realized that the thing that I needed to do, if I love America as much as I tell myself and all my friends that I do, that I need to do more than vote. And so that's when I started getting politically involved. That's when I found my way to the New York Young Republican Club. I meet Gavin Wax. We go to get together, take over the New York Young Republicans. That, takes me on a path to meeting Steve Bannon. And then eventually he would hire me to produce War Room Impeachment at the time, and back in 2019. So I was kind of the original producer of the War Room, and I produced the first episode of War Room Pandemic, and I was essentially locked down and quarantined with Steve Bannon all through 2020. I did the Hunter Biden laptop with him, where all that software experience that I had prior to politics kind of came in handy in this crucial moment, and I helped expose that. That's where I would end up, in the War Room is where I would end up meeting Matt Gaetz, and I would go and work for him after the War Room during his original crisis scandal back in 2021. I helped him get reelected through that. And once I did that, and that was kind of crisis averted, then another crisis would pick up in George Santos. I would go work for him on the Hill and try to, extend his shelf life in the House for as long as I could, helping that happen. And I told him when I joined him, if I could get you through to 12 months, that would be a win. I got him to 11 months. So I came close. Unfortunately, couldn't get him to the 12th. But since then, I've essentially become a crisis manager, a crisis consultant, and also a media consultant and a political consultant all at once. And so through 2024, I did a lot of consulting work, particularly for Steve Bannon. And then once the election was over, Matt Gaetz, essentially brought me on to produce his new show on One American News Network. And so I'm currently the booker and the scriptwriter for the Matt Gaetz Show on One American News Network. And if you want to check out the show, make sure to get the OAN Live app and subscribe and check out the show. We're on at 9 p.m. Eastern every night, Monday through Friday. And we also have the Anchorman podcast that we do as well that releases every Friday with Matt. I'm on the episode tomorrow. Check it out. It's a spicy one. I guarantee it. And so really now I'm on a content blitz, with MAGA, just building up the MAGA ecosystem as I've always been doing.
That's wonderful. Thank you for that great explanation, because it sounds like you have quite the experience in right-wing media and also politically, obviously, and that's really good to hear. And 2016, the Trump movement, when it initially started, was, I think, a great motivating factor for all of us. I know that's when I first got more involved into politics as well. I was in college at the time, and I dove right into it and got involved with the Trump campaign also, or up where I live. And it sounds like I animated you just as much. But I am also aware of your work with New York Young Republicans, and this is what I know about the New York Young Republicans. I live in Washington State, never been to New York. I hope I will someday. But as far as I'm aware of the New York Young Republicans, they are a pretty active chapter. And I don't want to, upset anyone here, but I would say it's the most active of all the chapters as far as I'm aware nationally. And it's really amazing what the New York Young Republicans are capable of doing, the events they had, the speakers they had. And I know this was at the height of when you were involved. And so what I wanted to ask you specifically was, what sort of tactics did you employ to get more young people wanting to get active in the Republican or conservative movement? I know that Trump was a big motivating factor for this for a lot of people, but specifically locally in your area, how did you accomplish that? Because it's very difficult for a lot of conservatives to actually get young people fully motivated to do something like this.
Yeah, so when Gavin Wax and I took over back in April of 2019 with the original board, we came in with this mindset that we're young professionals, really, right? The New York Young Republican Club is a club that's meant, any young Republican chapter is meant for 18 to 40, but we decided to focus on this young professional group that's basically post-college, right? You move to New York after college for your first big job in the big city, right? And you're looking for, and they come from all over the country, all over the world, and you're looking for, somebody who is, is of your tribe, right? Is a conservative, and that's very difficult to find. And so that was the first thing. We wanted to be a lightning rod for those kind of people, that transient population of young professionals, probably some of the best in the country that end up in New York. So we wanted to bring that talent, but not only that, we wanted to professionalize the operations of the club in a way that was understandable to a lot of these corporate folks that we were trying to attract and get involved with not just the operations of the club, but then be active externally as well. And so that was another kind of strategic initiative that we took. And what we decided was the strategy on how to grow. We wanted to do events consistently, right? Have this thing where we, social every month and a speaker every month, at least two events per month. Get people in a room, get them to see each other, see that they're not alone, right? And so having events, but not only that, having speakers who were controversial, who generated, some controversy. And it's twofold to that. First, we wanted to show that we were willing to push the conversation. Young people like that. Young people like energy. Young people like the edgy, right? And they want to be able to explore the unknown. They're still trying to discover themselves too. And so that was another part of that, where we were courting these controversial speakers, and that would court controversy, especially from the media. And that was part of the strategy, because we needed to be able to generate buzz. They were doing the advertising for us, right, through their distribution channels, because now hey, this club is, bringing in this controversial speaker. Hey, this club is doing a gala in the middle of COVID, right? Though that kind of buzz, that a lot of members in our club had no idea that our club existed. But once they saw the news stories popping up, or we popped up on their TV at their local station, that's when they realized that we existed, and they're like, "Oh, cool! These guys are throwing parties in the middle of COVID. That's the group I want to be with," right? And so that is, was courting controversy to be covered by the media, because that would then gain us exposure. And so that was, and eventually you do that enough, and that starts, kind of creating a cycle. And it creates a feedback loop, essentially. And so that was another part of the strategy. And then we wanted to be able to not just organize and get these lists and build these groups of young people, but then we wanted to get them active as well. And we needed to show that our club can open doors to different paths that you're looking for. If you want to be an influencer, you want to be a staffer, you want to be a candidate, any of these things, we can open doors from these multiple facets to you who's interested in getting active. Some people just want to protest. Some people just want to help the club, right? And identifying those people, putting them in the right places is also part of the job. And doing that effectively in a professional manner has managed to grow our club from 60 members when we first got it in April of 2019. We're pushing about 1,800 members now.
That's crazy. That's amazing. Yeah.
And that's the thing. We treated it like it's a nonprofit, but we treated it like a business too. Monetize the events, monetize the membership. Now, as a county level young Republican club, our club boasts almost over $100,000 or $150,000 a year in revenue on just membership dues, right? And so that's more money than some state parties and local GOPs have, in their coffers. And so what we wanted to show was that Republicans were not doing enough with what they had. And we could do a lot more with a lot less. And we showed that over and over again. And I think and the impact is visible, and you could feel it, and you could see the people, you could see the impact, and everyone kind of just, had to essentially agree, like, yeah, the New York Young Republicans know how to do this, know how to do it well, and they could do it better than us with a lot less.
That's amazing. And yeah, I really do have to agree with you, especially on the controversial angle, because this is something that I don't think previous generations, before Generation Z and even Y to an extent, don't quite understand, is that young people, they sort of thrive off of like this anti-establishmentarian counterculture sort of dynamic. And so what you guys did there to get those speakers to stir a little bit of conversation, controversy was key. And I just hope to see that a lot more young Republican chapters would be able to do something like that and pull off what you guys were able to pull off. So that's quite amazing. I want to kind of shift my gears here and talk more about right-wing media, because I know you're also quite involved in that. And I wanted to ask you specifically, what are strengths and weaknesses right now as far as you are concerned with and aware of right-wing media? What is something that right-wing media can do better and that it's sort of weak on and has major strengths in moving forward?
Well, I think that our strength is really being able to be decentralized, and that in that we have individuals who pop up who do their own shows and do their own streams, right? That is heavily that's key, really. That's our strength, because you can't just take out one entity and take all of us out, right? And so you have to play whack-a-mole with us. That actually gives us our strength, whereas a lot of the left's best talent are under just a couple of umbrellas, right? And so if you blow out the entire entity or the umbrella, you blow out a bunch of their information warriors, essentially, and their personalities, right? And so that is an important strength that we have, and I think that the continued cultivation and generation of talent on our side in a decentralized manner, because we believe in it more. It makes us get active. We believe in the things that we do, and we believe in it so hard that we're willing to go on camera, put up a microphone, and start pumping content, getting into the information war. And so that is our strength, is our belief in what we're doing and our willingness to do it, especially in this media space that creates this decentralized structure of a bunch of people coming up to fight the fight. That's our strength. Now, our weakness, I think that a lot of conservatives don't appreciate having like opposing voices and kind of infiltration of others' platforms. Like, one of the things, especially being trained by Steve Bannon, especially in this media space, we would always talk about how, yes, we want to be able to talk to our people, to tell them how to organize and what to do to push the ball forward. That's very important. That's a critical service and aspect of what we're doing. But the other thing is that if you want to win converts, you need to be able to go to where they are. And they might not be watching your stuff. They might not be watching War Room. They might not be watching OAN. You have to go and somehow find your way onto MSNBC or Vice or any of these things. And so there has to be more openness to go on left-wing platforms as a right-wing influencer or a media person, because you need to infiltrate their airwaves in order to reach the people that you're trying to convert. And conversions are highly valuable. If you think about it, if you can convince one left-wing person that, hey, I don't like Steve Bannon, but he kind of showed that Gavin Newsom's full of it too. So I'm not voting for the left, or I'm not voting for Democrats anymore. That's -1 on the Democrat side. But if you can convince them that you're actually right in that same moment, and they say, oh, I'm not just not voting for Democrats anymore, but I'm going to vote Republican, that's -1 on the Democrats, +1 on the Republicans. That is a 2-point swing, right, in just one action. And so that's what makes conversions highly valuable and should still be sought after. I've never seen this as like, where the war is over, that we've won, and so there's no need to keep fighting, right, and keep trying to win the battle of ideas. Though we still need to keep fighting that fight. We still need to find ways to get in to the faces of the left. And so I think one of our weaknesses, like I said, is this concern over crossing the streams of left and right to be able to get conversations going with each other. And we should be more intent on doing that more often.
Interesting. Okay, and actually that goes into my next question I wanted to ask you. But like you just mentioned with Gavin Newsom, I know Charlie Kirk just recently went on Newsom's podcast or show. And I was at America Fest, at Turning Point's America Fest just a couple months ago, and they did platform Cenk Uygur as well, which kind of caught me by surprise. And I wanted to ask your take on what you thought about the right-wing platforming individuals like that. In a way, I do understand your point in that, like, it is a good opportunity for conversions, and getting a greater audience, which I certainly do agree with. Do you take any issue with the potential event of us platforming and perhaps even legitimizing those voices? Like Cenk, for instance, of the Young Turks, I don't know if he was all that known at America Fest, and so people were applauding him and some of his points on populism. Do you think that was a good move on Turning Point's part, or do you think that perhaps that could have been quite questionable?
I think it was a good move, and I think that what Chenk's views are on a lot of this stuff. Some of it, he might agree with us on, some he might not agree with us. There might be things we agree with him on some things, right? But the most important part of Chenk's kind of review or perspective on what he's learned since then is that hey, when he comes out and says, TPUSA gave me a stage, gave me a platform, right? And you know what, conservatives, I might disagree with them, but they don't close the door on me, right? Whereas the left, will close the door on anyone right wing immediately. We'll never platform them. We'll never give them the airwaves, right? So I think that is actually the most crucial message that Cenk should be pushing, right? In that we are more open to disagreement and disagreeable ideas and still keep you on our side than the other side will. That, I think, is actually key to the normie, right? To the normie will understand that these are like nicer people, right? They will actually, like, I disagree with them, but at least they won't keep me off stage just outright, And so that, I think, is actually the most important part of that kind of perspective. And Gavin Newsom doing the podcasts, where he's getting on these right-wing voices, it's very smart by him, I think. That, and you know what? It also gives us the opportunity to go test out our ideas with one of the best on the other side. If you can't defeat Gavin Newsom, can you defeat him in 2028? If you can't defeat him on his own podcast, and I understand, he's trying to, that podcast is clearly meant for a right-wing audience. I don't think there's a single left-winger that's going and watching the Gavin Newsom podcast. I think they hate that he's even doing it. But I do think that it's meant to reach a center-right audience. He's trying to kind of show that he can, or reach an audience where he can win those middle votes and those swing votes and those normie votes and whatever. And you know what? You have to give him that chance in order to show that you are still right? And that you can beat him on his own platform, and that in a battle of ideas that he can still lose, or you can make him look silly. You have to take that opportunity. High risk, high reward. And so I always am a fan of mixing it up, of crossing streams on content from the left and the right, because I think that conflict generates very good and interesting and new and original content. And I'll always encourage that. I just think that, I'm not going to make Cenk Uygur the head of TPUSA anytime soon. And I certainly won't be voting for Gavin Newsom for president anytime soon. But I certainly, am not afraid to fight him, whether, that's rhetorically or electorally.
Very well put. And, I do feel somewhat similar on that, because the polarization that our country is facing right now is absolutely incredible, particularly with having certain discourses online. I mean, you see that the polarization is ridiculous, not only politically, but with like the gender war conversation and everything else. So it is important to find common ground, or at least have these discussions, especially when there are purity tests on both sides of the aisle, drastically so, where your average normie may not feel comfortable on either side. So that's a very salient point there. I did want to ask you about the InfoWars situation. I just talked about it before you came on. Are you familiar with what's happening with InfoWars and the murder of Jamie White at all?
Yes, I've been following the story.
Okay,
yeah.
So this I find is a very concerning this line of events that's happening right now, because I'm sure you're aware that after the murder of Jamie White, they're having multiple swatting events now occur with the team of InfoWars. There's apparently a bounty out for, or there's going to be, they said that there could have been potential assassination attempts on Alex Jones. And also there was Nick Sartor was just swatted the other day. And other large right-wing Twitter accounts. And my last stream on Tuesday, I talked about how leftists, or there's a potential for political violence that is occurring. I mean, they're now, shooting up Tesla cars, and Tesla dealerships, and like it's all very volatile right now. And I know the right wing has been saying that the left was demoralized after the Trump win, and I certainly said the same thing on my stream. But I'm having second thoughts about this, and I'm quite concerned about the potential for more political violence. Not to say that Jamie White was was a targeted kill by that, but I also don't think it was a burglary. That's my personal opinion. But I understand it's all alleged right now, so I won't make any claims on that, obviously. But do you think this is an outright attack on free speech and independent journalism and media and right-wing media? Are we to expect more of these potential attacks and these swattings to occur? Is this something that we should be aware of?
Yeah, so first I want to say, Daniela, you have a bright future in commenting on politics and culture, because you actually kind of see the bigger picture implications of demoralization on a mass scale like that. So a couple of things, right? So we're, the right wing, the Republicans, whatever, we're celebrating that the left is demoralized. They're thoroughly defeated, right? And we're kind of celebrating and just kind of how pathetic their resistance is, if there's any resistance at all, right, to the agenda, essentially, and where it matters, whether it's, in the House or in the Senate, at the federal government, right? Schumer just gave in on the shutdown today. He's allowing that CR to pass. So that was basically a surrender by the Democrats, because the base of the left had been demanding that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats do not pass this CR, and just kind of stand up and show that you can stop the Republican agenda in any way. They were, first time, perhaps in a while, that the Democrats, or at least the base, is rooting for a shutdown. So what I think that these are all signals, this InfoWars situation, the Tesla dealership situation, this is all a signal about how terrible for the country the lack of leadership with the Democrats is, right? And so it's not just demoralization, it's also the degradation of mental health in the wake of this big win by Donald Trump back in November 5th. Because 2016, the resistance was hot. People were not only were they resisting Donald Trump, but they were kind of resisting their own mental breakdown, and they've been resisting that for the last 8 years, and then this recent election thoroughly broke it. And Mark Halperin had a great point on his stream just maybe a couple months ago, talking about he was really worried about where the mental health of this country would go at a rapid pace. And I think now, after a couple of, just a little bit of seeing Donald Trump in office and the speed in which he's moving and the lack of response or even the gall or the courage and fortitude to stand up to him from the Democrats, I think the demoralization coupled with the mental health breakdown that's taking place on a mass scale and the cries out for leadership that the base is asking for. Hey, we want a strong leader. We want a strong leader. And they're not getting it. They're not getting it from Jeffries. They're not getting it from Schumer. They're not getting it from anybody. I mean, Al Green is probably their strongest soldier right now for standing up and waving that cane during the joint address the other week. But the lack of leadership, strong leadership on the Democrat side, is now forcing a demoralized and mentally unstable base of the left to go and start turning into Luigi Mangione en masse, right? And so these guys, it's just going to go lone wolf. When they see that their leaders are unable to do nothing and they're not able to stand up in a way that satisfies them, they're going to take matters into their own hands. And so that's what you're seeing right now on a mass decentralized scale. And so we thought, we won, there's no resistance, the war is over, right? And in fact, no, we were in the eye of the storm. And now the storm is coming, the tail end of the storm is coming back, and this is what it's going to start to look like, especially as long as there's no leadership saying, okay, I know everybody's pissed, I'll be the fighter, I'll be the guy, no matter what it happens to my political career in standing up to Donald Trump in this vicious way or strong way. I have to do it so that my people don't go crazy, right? And so unless somebody does that, you're going to see this continue to fester and flourish. And it's basically malignant at this point.
It's scary times, but like you're right. We do have to remain vigilant and be aware of what's going on. And this is why I have the Culturama show, so we can talk about these issues, so people can still remain informed on it. Thank you so much, Vish. We are hitting the 30-minute mark here. Obviously, I'm going to throw up your Twitter account after the commercial break. Tell people to go follow you. Is there any other place where people can find you or follow your work?
Yeah, you can follow me. Most of my work is on X at Vish Burra. I'm on Truth Social at Vish. Yeah, that's where most of my work is, so follow me there.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I'll definitely be putting that up and blasting it out after the commercial break, so everyone stay tuned. But I want to thank you so much, Vish. I really appreciate your work, and you're doing a good job out there. Keep remaining steadfast in the work of making America sane again. We certainly need that, especially in regards to what you just said there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you so much for
Of
having
course.
me, Danielle, and God bless you on your show.
Of course. Thank you. Okay, guys, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. We have a lot more to cover.
Well, here comes Daniela like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah, who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Okay, everyone, welcome back to Culturama. Wasn't that an amazing interview? I think that was quite one of my best interviews on this show. Thank you, everyone, that's still sticking around for the remainder of this show. I'm going to be pulling up his Twitter account here in a moment, but I did see right before the interview, I do apologize to Steelbringer, I believe it was, that had donated a gifted sub. So thank you so much, Steelbringer. You are very much appreciated. Okay, let me pull up the goods here for you guys. So you know where to follow. If you don't follow Vish already, you should. Here is his account. Vish Burra, with the little pirate flag there, and that's his at Vish Burra right there, just the first and last name. You guys should really go check him out, and give him a follow. This is his latest interview with Matt Gaetz here. So really good stuff. Can't recommend him enough. There's a stream he just retweeted. So anyway, please go follow Vish. That, like he said, most of his work he posts on here. So if this is an individual you think you truly enjoy, go check him out. Okay? And then I know I said I wanted to cover the InfoWars situation at length, and I will be as we move forward with the following streams. We do only have limited amount of time left, and I did want to talk about the Khalil story. So give me a second here. I'm going to pull up all my news for that. Give me a second. I just want to jump in after the commercial break so I won't miss anything, you guys. Okay, there we go. And here we go. All right. So I don't know if you guys know about this story. It's a little complicated, but don't mind this lady here. She has nothing to do with the story here. But Mohamed Khalid, Columbia University student. He's my age, graduate student. There's discussion right now about whether or not we should deport him. He has led pro-Hamas or pro-Palestine protests during the spring of when the protests were occurring all over college campuses. If you guys remember last year, about a year ago. And he was leading parts of those protests in his college campus. And it turns out that he was quite likely disseminating pro-Hamas literature. And as we look more into the story, which I will cover, there's a big discussion going on about whether or not this is an infringement on his free speech rights because he's a green card holder, or we should deport him. Now, I do understand the sentiment that states that, hey, look, we have free speech rights and we should follow through with that principle in the event that we just politically target anyone that we find, that the American government may find as a threat. And I understand that sentiment, but we also have to look and be realistic, okay, about this particular individual and the connections that he has with foreign governments. He is in school for, I believe it was for this, I am sorry for this, this pause image right here. He is in school for, I believe, international communications, or like foreign relations. So that's already a red flag. But he has connections. Not only is he an Algerian citizen, but this man has connections to the British government, the UK. Let's take a listen to this video.
A federal judge has blocked the deportation of a Palestinian activist and Columbia University graduate who was arrested by federal immigration agents in New York Saturday.
By the way, before I proceed, I do want to thank Fiery Waco for the $5. Thank you so much, Fiery Waco. You wrote, think Vish should be interested in taking a look at the Waco plan. Fiery Waco, I can DM him that. But thank you so much for the $5. And yeah, also you can follow him and DM him as well. So sorry that the interview's over. I wasn't able to ask him this, but I could reach out to him on that. Thank you so much for the $5. If anyone is aware, does anyone know where we're at on the Leo count? I know I was supposed to be following, but let me know just in case. Because I mean, if you guys are paying for the circus dog, I want to make sure I get him out here on your time. Okay. Anyway, let's continue.
Attorneys representing Mahmoud.
So this is the individual Mahmoud Khalil. Okay. Literally could be a spy. This is his wife. Now, I want you to pay attention because this is not the woman that the media has been presenting. Okay? Yes, she is technically an American citizen. But I've seen some articles post like a very not like this looking ethnic individual in some of the articles. And maybe I'll pull up some examples for you guys. But anyway, but this is the person we're talking about. This is Khalid.
Filed a motion as well to transfer him back to New York after he was sent to an ICE processing center in Louisiana. The Department of Homeland Security says Khalil was arrested for violating President Trump's executive order banning anti-Semitism. Khalil, who helped lead pro-Palestinian protest at Columbia last year, has not been formally charged with a crime and is a permanent resident with a green card. The president took to Truth Social Monday and said Khalil's arrest was the first of many to come.
So this is a big fumble on ISIS part. They said that his student visa was not eligible anymore, so they came over and they tried to deport him on those grounds. It turns out he's actually a green card holder, and they had no grounds to remove him on that basis. Now, yes, papers aside, I understand the technicalities of that. They can't, formally deport him because of his student visa. His wife is an American citizen with child. She's pregnant. And I said this earlier on Austin Peterson's Wake Up America show. I could care less if she's pregnant and she has a family, because this man, as we'll come to find out, does have terrorist inclinations. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. And on this show, I often talk about the infiltration of questionable cultures in the United States. I understand we're a melting pot. I understand that part. Or a mixed salad, or whatever euphemism you guys want to use. But we also have to be realistic with the potential dangers of certain cultures and ideologies that are brought into this country. And like I said, this person was single-handedly motivating protests on his college campus, pro-Palestine protests. I don't really care about the anti-Semitism stuff. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't care if you Jewish students felt unsafe. That's not why I'm motivated to say what it is that I'm saying right now. And I understand that's why the administration brought it up, saying that, he made Jewish people feel unsafe, and that's another reason to deport him. I don't really care about people feeling unsafe about certain opinions. What I care about is the fact that this man, and we need to be realistic, has direct ties to foreign governments, which very well looking like he is a spy. Okay, I will get into that, but let's first finish watching this.
News correspondent Lily Luciano has been following this.
And he has been disseminating pro-Hamas literature, and Hamas is identified as a terrorist organization nationally. So if he is directly aligned himself with a terrorist organization, perhaps it's in our best interest to not cultivate that in our country. Oh, did you guys see this play here, musical? I didn't yet. Apparently it's by a cult. I don't know. Shenyun. Here. And now there are protests following after the potential the detention of Khalil. He is in Louisiana right now being detained. But these are the protests following afterwards.
It is beyond the pale. It's targeted, retaliatory, and
it is most definitely targeted, lady. He is aligning himself with terrorist organizations. He is bringing in an ideology that is inherently dangerous, and by the way, goes counterintuitive or goes directly against the principles and virtues of our country.
an extreme attack on the First Amendment. And it reeks.
And I would agree with her, but he's not an American citizen.
Of McCarthyism. Political speech or speaking out should never be the basis of punishment or lead to deportation. And what's more, Mr. Khalil, like every other green card holder, has a right to due process of law.
Mahmoud tried to negotiate a resolution.
There's this post by Captive Dreamer. Let's take a look at this. Born in Syria to Palestinian parents with an Algerian citizenship. This Khalil guy, okay? Gets security clearance from Britain. Comes to the U.S. to organize protests. So there was an article I found. Is this the article? Do I not have the article pulled up? Shows how prepared I was. So there was an article listed about how I'll just give you guys a rundown. So this Mahmoud individual, this guy, he actually does have special clearance from the UK government. He worked for their embassy located in Syria, and he had clearance to work there and to come here under the UK government. Okay. Not only that, but he was potentially being provided resources by these Hamas-aligned organizations. I don't have any proof of this, but he very well could have been financially backed as well. Okay, regardless. Does this kind of what I'm saying to you guys today, what does this sound like to you? He has special clearance from a foreign government, but he comes here, has a different citizenship in another country, Algeria, was born in Syria, born to Palestinian parents. How does this not look like it's spy activity? Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what this is here, but what I am saying is that it looks awfully suspicious of spy activity. Okay, special clearance from the UK, really? Really? After the Labour Party had brought their people over here to doorbell for the Democrats? Kind of weird. Okay, here's another AP article about this. Columbia grad student. By the way, I'm so sorry. I almost forgot Entropy Nomad. Entropy Nomad's donation of $5. Thank you so much, Entropy Nomad. You wrote, "We are the Taco Bell Nacho Grande because of all the seasoning by the Biden administration." Entropy, you're going to make me quite hungry. Thank you for that. Very true. Very true. We are the Taco Bell Nacho Grande. We might as well be because the demographics of our country is certainly turning that way. We're going to be seeing a lot more Taco Bells in our country, so very well put. I do like Taco Bell. That is one of my guilty pleasures. So I actually want some Taco Bell right now. I might go to Taco Bell after this. So thank you for the reminder, Entropy Nomad. Okay. Columbia grad student's detention will stretch as lawyers spar over Trump's plan to deport him. Does anyone know where we're at on the Leo count? Please let me know so I'm not, swindling any of you or gypping any of you. I know saying gypping is not politically correct anymore. My apologies. Just please let me know if we reach $70. I just want to make sure. Don't eat after 8 p.m. Entropy, that is not happening. I eat the most after 8 p.m. I'm going to be honest with you guys. My eating schedule is all over the place. Okay. Although I do force myself to eat breakfast every day, which I'm not a fan of, but I do force myself. I know it's best for my metabolism. Okay, so let me read this for you guys. These names. Mahmoud Khalil will remain detained. $37. Okay, thank you, Entropy Nomad. Sorry, guys. It looks like we will not be having the Leo the Beast unless someone donates, a good chunk of money right now. There will not be a Leo the Beast update. But a Leo cam will be settled for you guys so you can see the cage that he's living in. I'm kidding. He doesn't live in a cage, but I will be setting up a Leo cam. Khalil will remain detained in Louisiana until at least next week, but can finally speak to lawyers while they fight the Trump administration's plans to deport the Columbia University graduate students for his role on campus protests against Israel, a judge decided at a hearing Wednesday. The brief hearing, which focuses on thorny jurisdictional issues, drew hundreds of demonstrators at the protests that we just saw. The federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan to denounce the Saturday arrest of Khalil, a permanent U.S. resident with a green card, who was married to an American citizen. Khalil, he's 30, was not brought to the hearing for an immigration detention center in Louisiana, where he has remained after a brief stop at New Jersey lockup. Okay, so during Wednesday's hearing, attorney Brandon Waterman argued for the Justice Department that the venue for the deportation fight should be moved from New York to Louisiana or New Jersey because there are no locations where he's held. I was confused why he was held in Louisiana. So we are to hear an update today, but this is something I want to reiterate for you guys. Is that a lot of people are posing this as like an anti-Semitic situation. And I know I already said this, but I want to say it again. Yes, Jewish students felt unsafe. I believe this article outlines this. Jewish student slams Mohammed Khalil's actions as opposite of free speech and says Cornell anti-Israel mob not a surprise. So it talks about Sam Friedman, a 21-year-old junior at Cornell's College of Engineering, felt unsafe by the works of these pro-Palestinian protesters and Khalil himself. And I understand why people felt unsafe, but I think I personally don't think the Trump administration should even refer to the anti-Semitic EO that was passed. This guy, this is what we need to be realistic about. The cultures that are necessarily detrimental to the cultures of our country, has connections to foreign governments, is enough, I think, not even a citizen, is enough to pose a major risk and cause for deportation. I don't even think this is a question of free speech. I understand that free speech is important and we should align ourselves with the principles of protecting the Constitution and the integrity of the Constitution, and I'll always do that. But alas, this man is dangerous. And we should be able to say this realistically with all the connections that he has. And like, frankly, you guys, the culture that he's coming from is not the most beneficial for the people of our nation. $10 by Nelson65. Nelson, I know you like to see Leo. I know you're one of the few that got the Leo pillow. So thank you for the $10 donation. Very generous, very gracious of you. So thank you. He wrote, "Release the Beast." Oh, thank you so much. We are still sitting at Monster Kill. We are still sitting at $47 according to Entropy Nomad, and I'm reaching the end of my streaming time here. Another $2 from Entropy Nomad. Thank you so much, Entropy Nomad. He is an agent provocateur, woman always siding with the dark triad traits. $49. Thank you, Entropy. I really appreciate you. Only 28 more to go, says Nelson65. We'll see. We only have 5 more minutes left until my stream has to end. Fortunately, but unfortunately, because we had the Liberty Tonight show happening here in the next 5 minutes, you guys. But I do want to thank everyone that has stopped by. Again, I just want to cover this story and say that we potentially have living spies in our country. Surprised, not surprised, depends on how you look at it. But it's something to talk about since everyone's talking about this particular case. But I want to thank everyone that has decided. Daramuth, thank you so much for stopping by. I see you're saying hello. Hope you're doing well. Looking good tonight. Thank you, Daramuth. If you have time, I suggest you wind back and watch the interview I had with Vish Burra on my show. You just have to go back an hour in the stream and you'll be able to watch that. It was pretty good. Okay, you guys, it has been quite the eventful stream. I have not been able to cover everything that I wanted to cover, but that's a good sign. So if you guys want to catch me, unless we hit another $28 the last few minutes, if you guys want to catch me, I will be doing another gaming stream on Saturday, okay? It's going to be real fun. I'm going to be playing Cuphead again. And then suggest to me, maybe in my Twitter, you can DM me like other video games you guys want to watch me play. I do like Cuphead, but, you know, let me know. I'm still going to be doing the video game streams. I like to do video games, but also I like news coverage in between, sort of have a break. So if you guys like long form, and that's more of my long form stream, it's uncapped. So if you guys want to watch me on there, watch me this Saturday. You're really going to enjoy that. And also, please go to the ap4libertyshop.com. Once again, that is ap4libertyshop.com. to get yourself a Culturama coffee. I didn't advertise it all that much on this stream. But, you know, the coffee goes a long way in supporting the stream. I'm trying to sell as many bags as we can. For March, we have already sold again a couple bags. Let's bump those numbers up, you guys. Maybe get a consecutive subscription. The coffee is quite delicious, and it can be enjoyed hot or over iced. It's very good. Or iced, over ice. And we have another $2 from Nomad Johnny. Writes, great guest, my favorite so far. Oh, thank you so much, Nomad Johnny. I appreciate you showing up, and please continue to show up on all the other streams I have here. And every Thursday we have a special interview. Okay, you guys, it looks like we are reaching the end of the stream because I have to hand it off to the Liberty Tonight show, folks. So head on over there. Let me get the link for you guys. And I will do my outro here. Okay, you guys. Here's the link. Buy a Leo pillow, says Nelson65. Yes, everyone, please buy a Leo pillow. Here is a link for the stream. And then as for the AP for Liberty shop, let me give you guys that link as well. Oh, whoops. There we go. And everyone, please be sure to check out the Culturama shop. Right there, I sent in the link. So please go check it out. If you want a Leo pillow, go donate there as well, everyone. Let me do my quick outro music. I'm sorry, Nelson65. I did not get the $70 in full. Maybe on Saturday, I'll bring them out. Because I have endless stream on Saturday. So... Okay.
They gather strong, pushing back the lefties.
Everyone, I want to thank you so much for showing up on Culturama. Let's take back tomorrow, today. Let's reclaim the zeitgeist and the values of traditional Americana and Western virtue. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and I hope to see you on Saturday while I'll be doing my gaming stream. Otherwise, I'll see you at the Liberty Tonight show, and I do hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.
Now, in the heart of every town, we've got the power now. The Reds are going down.
With a flagpole planted firm,
Golden dreams that won't decay, marching proudly through the day. In the eagle's shadow by, we find our strength and take our pride. Let the voices echo loud, tearing through the waiting crowd. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down. Across the plains and mountains tall, hear the victory call. With courage and with might we strive, in the light of freedom's guide. We got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are